but they were all like they were like 10 foot by 10 foot, like small room. Big.
Yeah, no. I'll go ahead and inform him, you know, that there are rooms on the lower levels where that you would be. You can find your own room and do with that as you will. I just ask that if you are going to be practicing any constructive redecorating as you did with my door, to keep it to a minimum.
I'll make sure that's his room.
Appreciate it.
After that, Gauss is gonna walk away, find a room, and he's gonna sit in there and meditate on him, and for the rest of the day trying to find that voice. Not the rest of the day, but as long as.
All right.
After speaking with Gyatso, I would go I'm gonna go ahead and start making a list for the things that we need as far as the tower itself and for the lizards. So as far as they need readily available food, not only for us to be able to feed them, but for them to be able to catch it themselves.
Correct.
They need readily available water for any kind of cleaning, any areas for them to be able to sunbathe in as normal lizards do.
Correct.
And
generally, that's not tough.
Right.
The canyon that runs next to your tower has a small stream that runs through the center of it.
Okay.
It's nothing crazy, but it'll generally suffice.
Shelter, which is going to be a little bit more difficult, so we're going to have to go to the elemental plane of Earth just to be able to get them a cave at least somewhere nearby.
Correct.
And what I was also thinking about doing is having it to where there's a in that side. Is that side room on this plane of existence? The one that he had originally shown us. The one that he had just shown us.
You never tested it out.
Okay. So I'm gonna play with the idea of creating a false door on the first floor to be able to get down to wherever we are gonna have the shelter for the lizards.
That would be easy enough. The first floor, where the teleportation circle, that chamber for the teleportation circle, is inset into that section of the mountain. The tower comes up. You have a small spur of stone that butts up against the canyon, and on the other side, the mountain itself meets with the bottom of the spur of stone, which is where the main door is for the tower, and that teleportation room is inset into the actual mountain right here.
Gotcha.
So you would be able to put a side door off there that would lead up into wherever you put the cavern.
Obviously, it would be one that only we would be able to access.
Right.
So I would work on magic and enchantments for that. And then, as well as they would need some form of entertainment whenever we're not around, obviously. So basic pet needs.
Right.
Yeah. And then for us, as everyone else was talking, I went ahead and started on a supply list for the tower itself. It's like basic mortal necessities like food, water, entertainment, cleaning supplies, furnishings, you know. Which I know at some point we will get to, but I think another trip to Silvery Moon would be beneficial.
R did mention that he was going to be bringing some of the food and alcohol necessities back with him on his way back.
All right,
alcohol necessity.
Alcohol is a necessity.
Alcohol falls under water.
We really don't even believe in water at this
who's
point.
been dumping whiskey in our well? Like, apparently all of you.
Ours more of an
All of you have to be
Yeah, so
supervised,
just
apparently.
readily accessible stores of food and water
Okay.
for us, as well as being able to have either cleaning supplies on hand or to, because the tower doesn't clean itself.
No. That would be something that if you wanted something more along those lines, you could make a separate contract with something, say, along the lines of
like a wood nymph?
the elemental air.
Okay.
Or something along those lines. You would have to, I mean, as far as anything that's more intelligent or more humanoid, those would not necessarily be something that would just readily enter into a contract like that. Especially not on the material plane.
Right.
But there are a number of options that are open to you as far as that goes.
Okay.
So it might be something to think of. Think of something that you have. Think of a creature that you have something that they want.
Okay.
And go that route.
Well,
Unseen servant.
Yeah, unseen servant, but there's a limit.
Unseen servant when used through the crystal of the tower, can be permanently put in place.
Really?
That is one of the things that can be done using the crystal of the tower.
Neat. That is good to know.
But does he lose that spell slot?
It does cost spell slots for maintaining it,
Gotcha.
as in over the long term. The same way that the tower uses up the spells that are stored in the central gem to just simply power its needs. So the more spells you have in place on your tower, the more costly it is to maintain it on a regular basis.
Right. Would it be, on a different note, would it be unheard of for my character to have already heard of or known about pseudo-dragons? Completely different note. Like, completely off topic of what we were just talking about.
Go ahead and roll a nature check.
Nature. Interesting.
I'm not allowed to help with it, right?
I didn't ask. Like, if it had been one thing if I had, like, been like, hey, can you help me find out about this thing?
Alright. Suck the sock.
Oh, well.
I tried.
Nope.
Oh, fuck.
Try.
7.
7, actually, yes.
So.
No, not by name and not in particular. You would have heard of like any number of different creatures that wizards use, as far as like different familiars. You're not really familiar with the various planes as well as your other companion, nor as nature as a general. Your line of studies were in a different area.
Of course, that would make sense. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna mull. While I'm mulling this over, I would also start to like to go ahead and work on the spell that we were talking about.
Okay, so you're abandoning the other one for now.
For which one?
The self-destruct one.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Yeah, it was gonna be
There's a concern sound.
Only if you like actually die.
Well, no, it would actually kill me. The name of it is Death Curse.
We will know for those.
Yeah. Like it's like basically the spell from Dresden Files.
Okay, so you gonna control where you're gonna use it? Or you just taking everybody with you because you're...
No, obviously I would control where I would use it. It would be a last-ditch effort to save everyone.
Good news for the party is it is considered an evocation spell.
Which means that I can create pockets of safety for
Okay,
anyone
cool.
that's
So
near
then
me.
you're like, hey, let's all go help Doft.
Correct.
Suicide. I'm taking everybody with
For
me.
sure. Bah!
It would be his last.
That would be
action.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
can I just read my
Go for
some of the
it.
stuff to it? All right. So
Before you like suicide bomb us on the tower.
I would not do that. So
I don't want that.
so I ended
I
up
like
put,
the ones with Pikachu.
there are 2 notes to this. So the first one, using this spell causes true death. You do not make saving throws after it is successful. You cannot be stabilized. You can only be brought back by direct divine intervention. If the caster has no god, their soul must be retrieved wherever it ends up.
You're not doing
Yeah. Your corporeal form detonates. Anyone within 60 feet of you must make a con saving throw, taking half damage on success. Anyone between 31 to 60 takes 2d10 damage. Anyone between 1 to 30 feet away takes 4d10 damage. The damage is dependent on your spellcasting ability. Wisdom dealing radiant or necrotic depending on your alignment. Charisma deals force damage, and intelligence deals psychic damage. At higher levels, each damage is doubled. Yeah. Editor's note. Do not use this.
It starts out as a first level spell, dealing 4d10 damage to everything around it, and for every spell level above first that you use, it adds another 4d10.
So
What the fuck?
Yeah,
this
it
is
is intended.
I mean, he is dying.
It is intended that if you are willing to give your life for the cause,
360.
it is going to make sure that it is worth it.
So we can like stab them in the gut and drop them off in the middle of your really big boss fight.
do you
Anybody
really
see that
think for a
episode of
second
Battle
I'm not going to use that as a fucking reaction?
Anybody see that episode of Mandalorian that was recent? Where
No, I have
don't
not
ruin
watched
it.
any of the second season until all of them are put out, and then I binge watch them.
I haven't watched any of the Mandalorian.
That's what I'm waiting to do with the boys.
That's justifiable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
It is.
I don't like Disney. I'm not gonna give them money. I'll just wait till they're all out and torrent them.
There you go.
yeah, that's an option. That's fair.
So today might not come actually.
True to character.
Would the glass cutter one be too much to start working on?
It depends on what you. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you want to do as far as spending your time. Same basic rules apply for the other spells that apply to the other ones. And 1,000 or what was it? 2,000 gold per level. I think I said, didn't I?
No, it wasn't that. Hold on a second.
Trying to remember.
It was creating a spell, and I put that in my notes too.
Because there was the original one, and then there was the more recent one that I was just kind of using as a temporary thing.
Creating a spell, DC starts at 10, casting time starts at 24 hours, material components start out at negligible. Number of hit points affected starts out at 4d4. CR for creature outcome starts at 1 CR. Target starts out at 1 creature. Range starts out at touch. -1 to DC for each 1,000 gold piece of material component up to -5. -1 to DC for each additional caster up to -5. -1 to -10 to DC for crafting at a relevant.
Those rules are used when you have the time and the resources to spend in a laboratory researching and developing a spell. That's what those are for. The other rules that I had used more recently for you, Daniel, and Cody are used for when you are out on the road to allow you to at least take part of the research and put some of your time on the road towards the research aspect of the spell.
Right.
In that regard, if you wish to use the new system, it costs a little bit more than if you strictly did it that way. But that is a much more hands-on way of developing the spell. Requires more checks, requires more investment, like on a personal basis, to actually get your spells researched and done. So that's it's entirely up to you which one you want to go.
Okay. I think this one would actually be best.
Wait, I'm blind.
Now remember, splitting your time the way that you want to, it's up to you how you want to split your time up. You don't lose progress on a spell, but if you split the time between multiple spells, it's going to take longer for both of them to get done. So it's entirely dependent on how you want to do that.
I think I'll go ahead and just focus on the one we were talking about yesterday.
Okay. I didn't get that one fleshed out really, but I mean we can at least get it started with as far as using those types of rules.
Yeah. Do you want this so you can?
Effectively, it's similar in style to telekinesis. So I could use that as a loose base to start it off of.
Okay.
You would need.
Can you knock down the AC just a little bit? I'm so hot over here. Not only would I stab you, I'd make sure it take a long time for you to bleed out.
Are you talking to me?
Go ahead and make 3 Arcana checks.
3.
Okay.
To start this off, and we'll see what it does as far as how much time how much progress you can make, at least in the first part of the day. And that way we can go around the table and bring everybody up to the same point.
Okay, not a problem.
Just like this.
Okay.
Well, what he's calling a slip disc. Without going to the doctor, you can't really say that.
I went to the doctor when I was like 16.
Oh.
I haven't had it for that long.
Oh. Shit. I didn't know that. I thought that was one of those made up things, like code or like Jesse's genetic thing.
It's. If I go far back, look at my pictures. I still have a picture of the paper.
14.
I'm kidding. I know Kleinfelters is a real thing. Come on now.
14 for the first one. 30 for the second.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Wizards.
Modified 20 for the third.
I don't know why, but, like, everyone else has, like, fallen fucking, like, ability scores.
Excuse me, yours are better than any
the
of
only
them.
reason why.
Just
Hold on a
look at her
second.
athletics.
10, 20, 12, 15, 15, 14.
Hold on. The only reason why
It's like a high.
my Arcana and my
functioning
history are both so high for very specific reasons.
But then, like, he's got
okay.
20, he's got 20, he's got, like, 220.
He's got like 3 con
That's that puts you at an average score per roll of 21,
I have a
which is
20.
ridiculous.
Team tickets on.
That's still fairly high, yeah.
I have 120
Every day before we go out, we take a round of steroids.
So instead of just sitting in his chair, he's able to lift up.
Yeah.
Was that your
Sometimes.
tape?
Nope.
Every day that's on. Hearts on a fireplace in the background. Like, hearts on.
God damn.
I'll be beginning the research on the spell we spoke about already as well. I would prefer not to speak about the spell out loud. I want it to be a surprise for the party.
That's fine.
Oh, that's part of the reason why I'm kind of working on my secret too.
I do not have the money for it,
Right. See, that's the problem.
so I can't even begin.
Yeah, you kind of reached a point as far as it goes. Like, you can hypothesize, you can have it like set in a way that you kind of want it, but to actually, it takes the full 8 hours in a laboratory with the resources to actually get it done.
Okay.
So
You can take out the loan.
now
I don't think I
you
can
do
learn that.
have
He needs, like, 1,000.
you do have the Galaderos' spellbook as a way of giving you a hint as to how he dealt with creating new spells, in particular paladin spells,
Yeah.
which is what his were.
Cheers on.
If you would like to, you could model your spell creation off of his. And